Hey, Xiaomi here. So today I wanted to do my September wrap up, and I did have some good books that I read throughout the month of September, so I'm just going to be getting right into this video. I do want to mention that I did participate in the Emojiathon readathon. The problem is that I don't know where the paper is about all the challenges that I crossed out throughout that readathon, and I'm looking for it but I can't find it. I really just wanted to film this video because I don't know if it's about to rain and I don't have any other day throughout the week. So you know what, I'm just going to be mentioning the ones that I covered throughout the readathon down below in the description so we can just get along with this video, and also the books that I've read for Hispanic Heritage Month. And since Hispanic Heritage Month really isn't over because it ends on October 15th, it is going to be ongoing. I just wanted to stop here and just, you know, tell you the books that I have been reading as of late and some that I've been loving. And there's one that I might be ranting over, but you know, we're just gonna get into this video. The first book that I read, and it's not for Hispanic Heritage Month, but it is a reread that I wanted to do. It's The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I gave this book 4.9 when I first read it. I think I'm gonna lower it to a 4 out of 5 stars because I do love this book. I love the fact that it is a coming of age story and the author isn't, you know, afraid to speak about some strong topics. You know, he doesn't shy away from these necessary topics that should be spoken about, especially at a young age. And you know, Charlie, for being so young, he went through a lot of shit, and you know, I get the things that he's going with, and some of these things really did resonate with me. And you know, Charlie felt like such a tangible person. Like I could relate to him, and I did relate to him in a lot of aspects. I also loved the fact that, you know, when they spoke about cassettes and VCRs, you know, I was reminiscing with this entire book because a lot of things are really relatable, and I really, like I said, I enjoyed the topics that were discussed in this book. But you know, Charlie as an individual, he's going through so much, and also his mental health issues and his problems that are, you know, basically he's regressing in things that are happening to him is something that he always does. And it's also intriguing, like, to, you know, go throughout the book and like try and decipher what was it that happened to him, and these clues and these bits and moments that are given to you. I thought that was really incredible, and I just really loved this story. Everything about it was just so amazing. And you know, not only Charlie but all the other side characters that are introduced, like the way that they befriend one another was something that I was just like, this is so cute. And Charlie as an individual, he's also so cute, and he's just so sweet and innocent, even though sometimes I wanted to smack him because I was like, what's wrong with you, man? Like, what are you doing? But you know, he was just such a cute and individual to read about. And I really want to know who the hell is it that he's sending the letters to, because in my mind I thought it was one person, but then with other details that's given, it's like it's not that person, because I don't know if it's a teacher, if it's a priest, because it does say that it's somebody that, you know, how is it that it's worded, like somebody that, you know, that people look to for strength and friendship. And I'm like, well, could it be a priest, could it be a teacher, could it be, I don't know, like honestly I would love to know who was it that he was sending these letters to. But I really did enjoy the story, and overall was amazing. And this was one that I annotated like the heck out of it, because you know, there is a tradition with me and my friend where we read the same books and we annotate it. I did annotate his, but it's over there. I really don't want to get it right now, but I'm just in love. It was such a cool book to actually like reread and like remember certain things, because I do want to watch the movie, but I really did forget about a lot of things. And the next books that I'm going to be speaking about are ones that I have read for Hispanic Heritage Month, and I am so glad that I actually picked these books up. And the first one that I'm going to be speaking about is The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. This was just such a brilliant Latina X representation that I just simply fell in love with it. It is told in verse, and it's just such an amazing story because it's told in verse, but it has this narrative format, and it is, you know, like I said, Latino representation. So I resonated with this book so much, especially like los castigos that, you know, a lot of Hispanic parents do, because you know, I was a part, like when, you know, my mom and dad would get mad at me, even though I didn't see this much as my brother, but like throwing rice on the floor and having us kneel there, like that shit fucking hurt, like honestly. And I was resonating with it, and I even was taking like pictures of it and sending it to my brother, and I was like, look at this. I mean, like Hispanic parents are crazy, but I just, you know, I love this character, and also the coming of age that she had. The story was so beautiful, and how, you know, she was growing through this, and also being a curvy, big Latino woman in, you know, the Bronx, and having to survive there. I was just like, I was mesmerized by it. There were moments that I was like, please don't do that. Don't do that. I also love the fact that her name is Xiomara, Xiomi. You know, I've never had a book that included my name in it, and that's what made me even connect a lot more to it. And I was just loving the family dynamics that we got. And also, I would have loved a little bit more like from the sibling relationship, because even though we do get, I love the moments that we got out of it, but just the story is sheer brilliance. It's just something that should be read. It tackles with a lot of serious issues, especially, you know, the fact that, you know, it does deal with poetry, which is something that I do love, and I think it's, you know, something that it's a dying breed and I want it to be sparked up again, and this book does that, you know. I also love the Spanish that's being woven throughout the entire book. There's a poem that it's written in Spanish and English, and I just freaking was obsessed with it because it is that good, and I was just like, yes, I'm loving this. And also the teacher, how, you know, she looked out for Xiomara and she, you know, wanted to know a little bit more, and like she helped her a lot through it. And just like that moment when there's a major strong situation that happens in the book, and I was just like, oh man, like I love it, but like it was just so strong and impactful, and I just love this book from beginning to end. If you can tell, I've been fangirling over it, but I think for the last 2 minutes, but it's just such a great book that I really think that everybody should like genuinely read. And the fact that she's described to be curvy, and you know, that she loves to eat, that she has to be accepted the way she is because she loves herself the way she is. Why is it that people, you know, try and, you know, go around it that like, you know, you should be a little bit skinnier, or you should be this, or you should be that? No, she loves herself the way she is. And like the story to it, the family dynamics, the sibling relationships, and the fact that, you know, she wants to speak about, you know, her poetry. And the only thing that I would have to like nitpick is that at times I really wanted to like read what was the slam poetry that she was mentioning to the crowd, but I was living for this book, and everything was just so amazing. And for it being a debut novel, it was just, it took my heart away, and it made me cry, it made me laugh, and I can't wait to actually like reread that book. It was a beautiful coming of age story, and it's something that I'm going, you know, to treasure for the rest of my life. The next book that I managed to pick up was a reread, and that is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Elias Sainz. This is a 5 out of 5 stars because I love this book, like the Latino representation in it, the fact that we have a beautiful friendship that sparks into something else. I just love these characters. Like I said, I love the family dynamics. I love the story. I love the prose to the writing. I just love everything about this, and the fact that even though in this reread, I understand why is it that people like sometimes don't like Ari, because Ari is such a brooding, strong, at times he's really like, how can I say it, but he's really tough on himself, and you know, he's a character that really does need a lot of help, and I love that his family does help him, and they spark something in him that he eventually ends up, you know, choosing what he wants in life, and that's something that I have to admit that I love. And the Latino flair that's in it, it's just everything about it was just so beautiful. And on my reread again, I love Dante. I can't wait to have my own perspective on Dante, because Dante is a character that I really want to read more about, because like I've mentioned, Dante is such a bold individual, and I love what he stands up for. And you know, the fact that he's willing to do everything that he's willing to do for something that's so minimal, but it's just something that, you know, makes him feel better. And you know, as a character, that's what he wants to portray. And sometimes, even though there's a moment where he breaks, that, you know, he's doubting a lot of things in his life, it's just beautiful how eventually he still forgets. And you know, he's always like, you have to forgive. And I was just like, yes, this is Dante at his best, you know. And I really wanted to read more about him. Ari is another character that I was like, in the beginning I was like, why are you so like hating on everything, and why you're so hating on life? But then you understand why is it that he feels this way, because even he doubts himself as a person because of everything that has been, in a sense, taken away from him, and he wants that, he just doesn't even know how to word it. And it was just like, like I can't, like, this book will always be in my heart. I loved it. And this time I annotated like the crap, like I annotated this time the crap out of it, because this is what I wanted to do. And I'm always loving this book. This is also another book that I'm going to be, you know, it's going to be in my heart for the rest of my life, because I loved it that freaking much. The other one that I picked up was a continuation of a series, and that is Bruja Born by Zoraida Cordova. I freaking love this book. This is the sequel to Labyrinth Lost. You have to read Labyrinth Lost in order to get to this book, because even though there are moments where you can tell that, you know, it can stand on itself, it really can't, because you have to know what was it that happened in Labyrinth Lost in order to read this book, because this book does take place around 7 to 8 months of Labyrinth Lost, and we do get to follow Lula in this one, and we get to know the aftermath of what was it that she was in Los Lagos. So it's really important for you to know the things that are happening in this book, and how is it that, you know, she shifts her emotions, and really what's happening to her as an individual, and also what's happening to her magic, because this is urban fantasy. What I love about this is that the world is expanded a lot more on. We get new characters, we get new from the Brujas, like, can I say covenant, but like we get more from that world, and I just really love to piece things together, and how this world was expanded a lot more on. And I really have to admit that I enjoyed also the end, because the end, there are so many plot twists that are happening, so many shifts, so many moments that are just having me at all. And I was like, there's a moment where like I'm not gonna turn the page, because I don't want to know what's gonna happen, because it's gonna break my heart. That's literally what I was saying through some situations, because you do feel like there's moments that like slows down, but like everything is key and essential to the storyline. And I just loved the sibling interaction. I love how much we get more from the family dynamics in this one than we actually got in the first one, because in the first one we have that slow burn romance, we do have a bi representation, and I just love this book, because even though we do have Lula, we do have other characters. Rose, I cannot wait for Rose's perspective, because Rose in this book, she grew so much as an individual. We get to know more about Rose, and like I said, the siblings, I love how much they're willing to sacrifice for one another. I also love the family dynamics, how much they're also willing to sacrifice for one another, because they want to have this family and they will defend it to the end. And I also like love the action, everything that's happening, everything that's surpassing, because there are so many moments where it's just like your jaw drops because of the outcome that's happening, because she does, in one sense, and it is a part of the synopsis, you know, it does say that bus crash turns Lula's world upside down. Her classmates are all dead, including Max. Pluto is born to heal, to fix. So there, you know, we understand that some things are going to happen. Also, the consequences to these things that are happening was just something that was so surreal. And I was just like, and there was some situation was like, you know what, we need to lock y'all up, because y'all make more destruction than actually you know, healing that you actually caused. And I was like, oh my god, I was just living for it. Also love that some characters came back. I just can't wait for this story to be expanded a lot more on, and that ending has you set for the next book. And I'm just like, I am living for that. Like, I can't wait. I want it. Like, I want it now. This was just such an amazing read, and I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars, because there are some things that I was like, but I'm not gonna say because they are spoilers. But overall, it was such a great read, and I loved like everything about it, is if you can tell, which is I think what I've been repeating over and over again. But I just don't want to give you any crucial details, because it is a sequel and I don't want to spoil it for you. But that was just such an amazing read, and I highly suggest for you to read Labyrinth Lost before you get into that one. The next book wasn't a part of Hispanic Heritage Month, but I wanted to hear an audiobook, because I was doing so many things that I wasn't able to like do anything else. So I heard this audiobook at 2 times speed. Yep. City of Fallen Angels by Cassandra Clare. Now, okay, a little backstory before I get into the information in this. You know what? Me in my 20s, I love this series. It was everything for me. As a trilogy, it was a series that I really, really do love. I have an entire shelf dedicated to Cassandra Clare's Shadowhunter world, because this is something that I love. It holds a significant spot in my life, because these books got me out of a huge reading slump as a trilogy. When the world was expanded on, I was like, yeah, great. But like, this was unnecessary. This was completely unnecessary. I saw like the reviews that I gave like a long time ago, but it was 3 out of 5 stars, I think it was. I'm dropping it to 2 out of 5 stars, because like the one person that I love in this series, like before it used to be Jace. I loved his arrogance. I love the way he was as an individual. But like when he becomes brooding and like in a sense that it's just like way too much, like overly dramatic, I'm just like, whoa, man, take it easy. Why are you acting this way? Just because there is something mentioned that you have in you doesn't mean that you have to act like that. That's something that I really was infuriated by. But in this book, it solidified that fact, how much I was infuriated by all of the characters. There's so much freaking drama in this book, teenage angst, that it was just like so much. There was also a character that was again reintroduced at the end, nearly towards the end. That's Magnus and Alec, and I was like, what was the purpose of including them if they were just gonna have so much drama? Clary, drama from beginning to end. I'm noticing that again, Clary is my major issue. But like the one character that I really did love, again, Luke. I love everything that Luke is willing to sacrifice and everything that Luke is willing to do for this series. Luke is a character that I love, even though he isn't even mentioned in this series, in this book, because the parents are like MIA. Like City of Glass, the one thing that I gave 3 out of 5 stars, because I gave 1 star specifically for Luke, because everything that he's willing to sacrifice, and I love him as a character, how he's behind the scenes, how he's doing so many things in order for these worlds to mesh together and for them to put aside all their ignorance and all their stupidities and, like, you know, become one, because that's how they're going to survive. He's always in the shadows and he never gets a recognition for it, and he doesn't even care if he gets recognition for it, and that's what I love about him. And he was only mentioned in rare occasions here, but like this was unnecessary. This is 2 out of 5 stars. There are so many things that I really hate. The miscommunication between some characters, something that really infuriated me, because like, no, let's just have miscommunication throughout the entire book for me to have like a what, 400 page book, nearly 400 page book. But this is something that I wanted to show you, because I don't want to speak too much about it, because this is the 4th book in the installment. But I think that this could have been like a mini novella with 100-ish pages, and you know, my heart could have been content, because there was so much crap that was intertwined in it that I just could have cared less for it. But this is my review. No, not this one. My bad. But that was my review for City of Glass. You can tell how much I was infuriated. But here is the start of City of Glass. This is everything that I didn't like. And there's more on my cell phone. So you can tell that, yeah. Also, Simon, what? Simon was such a humble, beautiful character who was introduced, and in this one he just let me down. What is it? This because he's a vampire, now he has to have 2 love interests because 1 isn't enough for him? You know what? I'm gonna stop, because that book really infuriates me. And you know what? I love the Shadowhunter world, like I said, but like that book pisses me off on such a huge level. That's why I even wrote to my friend and I apologized for putting him through that experience, because it's just a no. It's just a no-no. And the final book that I'm going to be speaking about is one that I'm currently reading, and it's this one called Wild Beauty by Anne-Marie McLemore. I love that we have bi-representation. This is a Hispanic read, so I love the Latino X representation in here, but it is so freaking confusing. Like in the beginning, you don't even know what's happening, and then I'm like, wait, who is this character? What are we talking about? And then I'm like, oh, okay, but then I'm like, what? Because it does have dual points of views between Estrella and Fel, which is a new character, the character that, you know, is awoken in this La Pradera, which is the garden where these men that fall in love with the no malvides women disappear, and he suddenly appeared. There's something that they do, but I'm not gonna tell because obviously it's spoilers. But he appears, and I think that his points of views are really intriguing, even though we don't get too much from him, but I want to know more, you know. But as of right now, I'm on page 103. I'm going to be finishing it throughout the day, because I'm going to be taking breaks and then reading, taking breaks and reading, because I really do want to finish it today. But like, it is such a confusing read, and even though I'm enjoying some aspects to it, I'm like, at times I'm like, what the hell am I reading? But you know, the fact that we have 5 no malvides women that are in love with the same woman, and also you really don't even know their age, and I have to create like a mental picture of these characters, and as of right now I don't have too much images to lead on, just from the fact that they have brown skin color. That's really all that I have, and I want to have more. I do have bits and pieces from them, but I don't know too much, and that's something that's a little bit infuriating me. But as of right now, I'm okay with it. There are some details that I'm really intrigued by, especially when they speak about La Pradera, which is something that does intrigue me, which is, you know, that garden that it's like a sentient being is what I call it, but I don't know any more about it, so I can't wait to actually finish it and then give you my thoughts on it. So I'll be telling you down below when I finish it, like what were my official thoughts on this book. But that's it. Those are all the books that I read throughout the month of September, or you know, I'm going to eventually finish throughout the month of September. If I have to choose my all-time favorite, it's between 2, because I'm not going to count the reread. Aristotle and Dante is always going to be a favorite, but I really genuinely love The Poet X and Bruja Born. Those were the 2 that really like captivated my attention. I loved everything about them, and I just cannot wait to actually like reread these books, and I can't wait for these authors to expand on these worlds. And also The Poet X, Elizabeth Acevedo, she's going to have a 2nd book already, and it's going to come out in 2019. but I can't wait for that book because I'm so excited and freaking out. I just can't wait for the next installment in the Brooklyn Brujas series, so I'm really intrigued by that. I want to thank you for watching. This is it. Like I said, tell me which was your favorite book for the month of September. If you want to give it a thumbs up, then give it a thumbs up. I will be linking everything down below just in case you're interested in checking me out. I'm always active on Instagram. Very rarely am I active on Twitter, but I want to thank you for watching, and I'm sorry this is a lengthy video, but until next time.